This is episode 5 in our series on the new build of a wind-assisted expedition yacht. It's now grown to 106 meters. The designers are very busy. We're about to meet with a number of our suppliers over at Yachts. I'll get to that later. This episode in the series is going to focus on hydro generation, and you'll understand why, hopefully in a few minutes as I dig into it. We probably all know something about hydroelectric dams, and that they generate massive amounts of electricity. The interesting and perhaps very obvious part is that the water is going down here into a turbine. And so the turbine is effectively not dissimilar to the propeller blades on a vessel. There is hydro generation already in the yacht world, and it is at two ends of the spectrum. At the one end, you got Black Pearl, which has got a couple acres of sail, and it zips along at about 30 knots, and it hydro generates off the propellers that are primarily dedicated to their existing auxiliary propulsion. And the other end of the spectrum, you have hydro generators being adapted and built into a lot of sailboats, and the amount of electricity that they generate is not something that we're going to be able to apply to our vessel for obvious reasons. So going back to Black Pearl and probably Maltese Falcon, the applications right now on larger yachts, let's say 80 meters or larger, is using the controllable pitch prop. When you're under sail and the engines are off, you can spin the prop blade and it becomes a hydro generator. But is that really the most efficient way to do it? Is to take a unit that is really designed and finely tuned for propulsion, and then say, okay, now it's also a great hydro generator. One of the reasons that I'm thinking that it's not the best solution is because of where the props are on a vessel. On almost any large hull design, there's going to be a carve out in the transom, which would be the most efficient way to put a direct shaft from the engine into the propellers. And you could have a Z drive, and you could have an azipod, electric azipod drive. You're probably still going to be in that same cutout in the stern of the vessel. And is that the best place to do hydro generation in terms of water flow? I'm not so sure that it is. But going back to the sailors, who usually seem to be a little smarter than everybody else, there's a very interesting project that is taking shape from a group called Foundation Zero. Here you can see their configuration for propulsion and for hydro generation. As I understand their premise, it's quite simple, that if you have a rotating azipod propeller system and it goes 360, you can have it facing aft for your propulsion, and then when you're under sail and you want to hydro generate, you just turn it around. The propeller is not going to cavitate as much, generating electricity, when it's turned around like that as it would if it was hanging on the shaft after the boat. The forward azipod unit, the propellers and everything about the unit is designed to have its optimum functionality when it's facing forward and generating electricity. Whereas the azipod that's further aft is optimized for propulsion, but it's still going to function fairly well when it's facing forward doing hydro generation. And they will both be doing propulsion at one point, and they will both be doing hydro generation at one point. And we're going to find out if this is applicable to our global wind-assisted hybrid expedition yacht. And although I was just in Amsterdam in June at the Hybrid Yacht Expo, I'm headed back there in a couple of weeks to go to Yachts Trade. I'm going to meet up again with the companies that make these units. It's going to be a little bit daunting. I read here that there are 18,000 like-minded peers that are going to be there and 1,500 exhibitors. I'm going to bring along my video camera, and I'll sneak some shots at the presentations and see what all these smart people have to say. There'll be a follow-up video that will answer some of these questions here and also give you more information on this exciting new build process and where we're going.